Kruger sightings. So that is
Yeah, you want to go?
I think it's okay for now. Good morning, folks. Welcome to a crisp morning on Mala Mala Game Reserve. You're currently looking at a male lion from the Gowrie Male Coalition, also known in some parts as the Birmingham Males. He has been roaring quite frequently this morning, and he's had at least one response, we presume from his brother. Pretty much came from the direction of, well, directly behind him, as you see him now. Again, good morning. Not sure where it is in your part of the world, but good morning from us. Linda from California. Good to see you on YouTube. Mia Ferreira, good morning. Welcome back. We are live streaming early today, but we are out early every morning. Just most of the time when we find animals, it's in areas where the mobile network coverage is not good enough for a live stream, unfortunately. Arunufalo asking why lions roar. If I'm not, so firstly, I'm not alone this morning. I'm here with Liam Henderson.
Good morning.
Liam is cold. Dan.
Good morning, everyone.
And Skoro. Liam, why do lions roar?
So the main reason why male lions roar is they roar to communicate or advertise that they are in the area. This is the territory of the Gowrie males. So he's calling out. About 10 minutes ago we heard his brother calling back, so it's a way of communicating between the two of them, knowing where each other are. and also letting every other lion in the vast vicinity that they are here.
Like the evoker males. That's yes. In fact, he has been roaring quite frequently this morning, and there was one response from his brother. There's now, you can hear some wildebeest alarm calling in that direction. What we are hoping is that it is his brother, and they join up. And you see a suicide bird. I think someone's about to get the fright of their life. You can see, folks, the male lion in the left of screen, and that Swainson spurfowl coming in. Who got the bigger fright? I think it was about 50-50 there. Mutebi Emmanuel, günaydın, merhaba, nasılsın? Hoş geldiniz. From Istanbul. Speaking a bit of Turkish that I do know. So Pak Pik Puk asking, do male lions hunt? I heard they don't. Male lions do hunt. They, as you can see, this male is alone. So males do often spend a significant time away from the prides, and they are very capable of hunting. When they are with the pride, if their pride is hunting something small like impala, they'll normally hang back and then rush in and claim whatever is killed. But they will definitely take part when they're bringing down bigger prey like buffalo, giraffe. This notion that male lions have this luxurious king of the beasts lifestyle is not quite accurate. They live very tough lives. If you look close at most mature male lions' faces, they are covered in scars. Yeah, so a couple people asking why this male lion doesn't attack us. As you can see right now, he is pretty much fast asleep, so it's he's the opposite of attacking us. He's barely even acknowledging our presence. They have become so accustomed or tolerant of having us around that they know that we are not something to fear, and they also know that we are not something that they can eat. And when I say we, I don't mean humans, I mean humans in a vehicle. It's quite bizarre, but they don't actually distinguish between us and the vehicle. They see us and this Land Rover as one thing. If I had to stand up or step out of the vehicle, then he would definitely change his attitude. And for everyone joining us now, we're coming to you live from Mala Mala Game Reserve in the eastern parts of South Africa. We're the oldest and the largest private game reserve bordering the Kruger National Park. For those of you familiar with Kruger, we are quite close to, the southern parts of our reserve is quite close to Skukuza, the main rest camp in the Kruger National Park. And people are asking what this male lion is called. So his coalition, he is part of the Gauri male coalition, also known in some areas as the Birmingham males. There used to be 5 of them. They've been whittled down to 2.
One of the Garmin. But it's tin yet. No, it's not. What's the other one called?
Mutebi, a vet. We also hope he roars one more time, which is why we're waiting here. I think there's a good chance he will. Also, where he's lying, there's not that much shade, so he probably won't be too long, I think, before he moves a bit. But we will wait until that roar comes. Narrows it down.
No, Peter's the other one.
Zeno G asking how many male lions there are in a pride. So how it works here, Zeno, is males form coalitions, usually related males, normally brothers. Coalitions of anywhere between 2 up to 6 males. And they control several different prides. So this male has one other male in his coalition. There used to be 5. 3 of them have died. And together these 2 males control a couple of different prides. The largest pride of which is 20. Chris VG, do we get enough rain this summer? Yes, I suppose we've had our average annual rainfall, about 500 to just over 500 millimeters for the season, which is a lot more than we've had for the past few years. So Christopher, we're not sure where the rest of the pride is at the moment. When we arrived here early this morning, he was looking kind of in that direction. So possibly, he might have heard them roar and was looking there, but can't say for sure. Okay, Jonathan, I'm going to let Dan answer that question. Dan, leopard or tiger, who would win?
Tiger.
Why?
Well, the tiger's a lot bigger in size. On average, a female leopard does not weigh much more than 40 to 50 kilograms. Big male leopard may weigh 80 kilograms, whereas a tiger can reach upwards of 300 kilograms. So I would definitely say the tiger has the weight and strength to power ratio in its favor compared to a leopard.
There you go, Jonathan. And I think the rest of us in this vehicle would agree that out here size does matter. Blair, so with the 4S Pride, it's new males. We haven't seen or named. It's definitely not the Gary male, so with the 4S Pride. Time Killer Entertainment, Mapocho blood still alive? Yes, there are several lions which still carry that those genes. And quite a few of the prides in this area will have some of the Mapocho's blood in them. Jerry, thank you very much for sharing this live stream, and we will wait here until either my battery dies or he roars again. Daniel, I've got a message here for you from Rosemary Bray. Nice to see you back. Congrats on your photos lately.
Thanks, Rosemary. Great to hear from you. Enjoy the stream.
Rosemary, Rat Race Camp misses you. Jonathan wishes all the big cats lived in the same country. I think he's got some sort of cage match in mind. David from Bermuda asking how often we get to see lions hunt and make kills. So David, we get to see them hunt quite often. Almost if you are with lions, you'll see them hunting several times a week. But how often we see them make kills is not nearly as often as that. I mean, many of us have been in the bush for a long time, and although I've probably seen at least 20 to 30 kills, I have been working in the bush for several years. Jamal Lucas, have we heard of Notch and his sons? I believe Notch is that lion in the Serengeti or Masai Mara. You guys there?
I'm not entirely sure.
Not familiar with them.
There might even be a leopard with Notch.
So Brutus would like to know what lenses are on these DSLRs. So on Dan's, looks like a 7200 Dan.
70-200.
F.
F2.8.
Yeah.
It's the Mark III version. A very, very nice lens.
And on Liam's lens.
So 100 to 400, f4.5 Mark II.
Let's see your lens, Lucky.
This one's a very unique one, but it can zoom.
And I'm holding a cell phone, so... So Puck asking how we recognize every single lion. They all look the same to you. Yes, so we basically use mostly with lions, it's mostly scars. But although the scars change and they heal, so it's not 100% accurate all of the time. Obviously, firstly, when you find lions, given the area in which you find them, because they are territorial animals, that gives you the first clue as to who they may be. So that starts narrowing it down, and then we look at composition. So if you're looking at a pride, we know, for example, that the Kambula pride is 6 lionesses and 14 cubs. So if you see 6 lionesses and 14 cubs, then it's in a certain area, then it's a very good indication that it is the Kambula pride. But yeah, so some lions also have varying shades of color in their eyes. Some have more amber eyes, some have lighter eyes. Like in Kahuma pride, there's one lion with a blind eye. This male in particular has got 2 little dashes just to the one side of his nose, scars which he's had for a long time, and it makes like a little equal sign. And that's how we identify him. And his brother has a very droopy lip, which is how we recognize him. Greg De Silva, my understanding, lions primarily steal food from other animals or scavenge because it takes so much energy to capture a kill. Well, yes, I know that. I mean, they probably, well, in this area, they definitely hunt more than they scavenge, but it is definitely not beneath them to scavenge. So scavenging is not something that's unique to, well, lions or hyenas. Any predator will try and scavenge a meal if they see a weaker predator with it. So, for example, hyenas will scavenge from leopards, but a leopard will scavenge from a cheetah. So let Liam answer this one. Liam, why don't male lions form coalitions with their sons? Jamal Lucas is asking.
So eventually there's my coffee.
That was my coffee, I'd start crying.
Up, actually. God. Okay, I'm answering.
Yeah.
Alright. So the reason why males will not form coalitions with their sons is that even though they might be their offspring, their sons will become challenges to them to overtake their territory. Normally what happens is when males that are born into prides, they will disperse away from their natal pride, because their fathers will no longer become tolerant of them in their territory. So by doing so, it helps for the diversity of the gene pools to carry out throughout a given area, especially in an open ecosystem. However, if you start to have closed off areas where males just continuously reign over a certain area, you'll tend to start having incest occurring, which over a period of generations can lead to detrimental impacts in the gene pool of those lions. Lions will start to be born with deformities or abnormalities for the younger cubs.
Right. Thank you, Liam. Jamal, I hope that answers your question. Chris VG, what do we do when we're not live streaming? Chris, we are filming a series called Rangers in Isolation. So any footage that we can't live stream, which is most of the footage that we capture in a day, goes into that Rangers in Isolation series, which is available on the Mala Mala Game Reserve YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe there. And there's also a lot of maintenance work to be done on the reserve and anti-poaching work, which the guys help with. Painted Turtle, Kruger and Mala Mala are both locked down, and we will still be locked down for a while. Unfortunately, well, for the right reasons, but the tourism industry is going to be one of the last ones to reopen. Anyways, I'm just going to try to catch up on some comments here. So Busani Siwela asking if we've noticed any change in animal behavior since tourism and since lockdown and the lack of tourists. No. So as you can see, this male lion does not care that we are here. Which is the beauty of these safaris, is that we get to watch these animals doing what they would normally be doing as if we were just a fly on the wall. So this male lion, you can see he's not even acknowledging us. So whether we were here or not, he would be acting in the exact same way.
Is that a change in animal behavior? Question.
Yeah.
You say that. So one thing that we've noticed with somewhat of a change in animals' behavior is that with the lack of our guests in our camp, the guest areas have not been utilized. So if you can go back and look at some of our YouTube footage, even on some of the Instagram posts, we've had lions, leopards walking straight through our camp because there's not enough human activity in there to deter them from being there. So that's some change of animal behavior that we are experiencing.
Perfect. And another thing would be for any of the cubs growing up now, they would not be exposed as much to our vehicles as they would if we were still in full operation. So it'll take those cubs longer to acclimatize to having the vehicles around when things do open up again. And for all of you who are joining us now, we are filming live from Mala Mala Game Reserve. You can see this male lion in front of us is fast asleep. When we started filming, he'd been roaring frequently, and his brother had been responding from further away, and we were hoping that they'd meet up. But yeah, he has just put his head down, and he hasn't basically moved since we started streaming. Alexander Gulli, sorry. It's not dangerous to drive around with these open tops, and we've, in the 60 odd years that Mala Mala has been doing photographic safaris, there has not been any fatalities from animals attacking these vehicles. Again, this male lion is a prime example. We're sitting here in this open vehicle, and he really does not even care that we are here. Maya Ferreira, you want to be a part of the WhatsApp group? I'm not sure if you're referring to someone commenting or to us at Mala Mala, but I don't think you want to be on our Rangers WhatsApp group. Dan makes very bad jokes. Payson, no, it's not a dead lion. It's a very sleepy lion.
A very full belly.
Blair, the biggest leopard I've ever seen was undoubtedly the Emsachwen male, who was, I think he died in 2013, I want to say. But he held sway over much of the kind of central parts of our reserve. An enormous male leopard.
How big was he?
So you've been pushing 90 kilos, Dan. Big boy.
That is a massive leopard.
We're going to ask at least who is the biggest male leopard on the reserve at the moment.
I would have to say,
Son of the Emsachweni female.
if we get an opportunity to see a male leopard, probably the Sipita male would be my call.
So even I do agree with Dan, but I think a new arrival is the Maxim's male, which I think will be a worthy contender going forward, being the largest male on the reserve.
And Lucky, do you agree with these two young?
I agree with the Sipita male. He's quite a large one.
But are we not forgetting about the split rock male?
Yeah.
But he's still young, huh?
He's still growing. He may be a big contender in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Payson Thumper, you can gladly come here and poke it yourself. I'm not going to be doing that. It'll be the last animal I poke. Not sound. Double Y, yes, we do name predators. So lions, we name the coalitions and the prides, not necessarily the individuals, but we do name individual leopards. Saffron Bell, I understand where your point is coming from, but it's no, it's not the case. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, our presence here does not induce any stress in these animals. Point in case, center of screen. Jamal Lucas, what about during takeover when the male lion and the sons get kicked out? Well, that's so when the takeover happens, the new males go about killing any cubs, and yeah, so as any young males as well. Would be fair game, but they do that so that they can bring the females back into estrus and propagate their bloodline. Okay, we've had one request here from Painted Turtle. If we could move to a water area, might be more action. We could definitely try that. We were hoping to see if this guy would roar. I know he is sleeping now, but with lions that can change very quickly. But it might be an option for us to take a bit of a drive, see if the signal stays on. And Saffron, the pleasure is all ours. Bond, James Bond. When is your busy season? Typically our busy season is from May through to September, and then over December as well, Christmas and New Year's, and also Easter. Imran, lions in this area mostly hunt impala simply because they are the most abundant prey species here, but they do also hunt buffalo, zebra, giraffe, kudu, waterbuck, a variety of other animals. So let's have a quick get a feeling from the people, everyone watching. Would you folks like us to stick with this lion, see if he does roar? Or do you want us to drive around, see if we can find something else, or just to show you a little bit more of the reserve? The signal might cut out, but it could be worth a try. James Bond, lions and leopards, typically females can live up to 17 years. Males, because they are often, as they get older, younger males will try and take over their territories. Due to fights and being kicked out, their lifespan is a lot shorter, usually maybe between 12, 13 years. Okay, Nona Menau, there's your zoomed in line, but unfortunately I am holding a cell phone, so it's difficult to hold it steady when it's zoomed in, but just so you can see him. Yeah folks, so it looks like the general consensus is people would like us to drive around a bit. Okay, let's do that, Liam.
We'll be off.
Yeah, let's drive around a bit, see if we can find anything else. Maybe come past him again in a bit. Yeah, we're gonna drive along our boundary road here and see if his brother is lying somewhere there. After that, we'll head down to the river. I think we can stop again now. Blair Sinclair asking if the four-ways pride the new males in the four-ways pride pose a threat to the Gary males. Well, Blair, it will be very interesting to see as we head into winter and animals rely more on the Sand River for water. It could bring the four-ways pride closer to the river, and that's deeper into Gary male territory. And yes, I definitely think they do pose a potential threat to the Gary males. Yeah, Linda from California, you are probably spot on in saying that male lion is probably going to roar and move now that we've left. Kind of, not really. Dan, do you mind just holding this for me? Okay, so Gurpreet Sunny asking how many lion prides there are in the park. So on Mala Mala Game Reserve, Gurpreet.
The pride's going north,
Ah. Check the tracks there.
You want to check the fire brake?
Fire break, yeah.
Yeah, if they're not in the far
So
break,
folks, just having a look on the ground there for tracks of the other lions. Also just went past a giraffe.
So folks,
Yeah, we're gonna look for a place to turn around.
Yeah, we're just going to check the far breaks. The tracks look like they're going north, which is behind us. We're not sure exactly where they are from here, so we'll take another road and see if they have been crossed east, which is the direction, or west direction.
so I'm not sure if you could, as we are driving now, the sound of the engine, if you could hear what Lucky was saying, but there were tracks on the road there of the large pride of lions, most likely the Kambula pride, heading north. So we're going to just turn around and check another road, see if any of the tracks cross over.
You sound like it was too far.
No, it doesn't sound far.
Want me to hold it?
I don't know if I'm just aiming it away from you. So for you folks watching at home, if you want to have a rough idea of where we are, if you go onto our website malamala.com and then you go to About, or there's a section called Why Malamala, it'll have a map of the reserve, a basic map, but it shows you where our camps are, where the airstrip is. If you can see where the airstrip is, we are just west of that airstrip, to the left of the airstrip. And for those of you who are tuning in now, welcome to Kogain, Chibebe. We are on Mala Game Reserve in the northeastern parts of South Africa. And we did spend the better part of the last hour with a male lion who had been roaring for most of the morning, but spent most of the live stream sleeping. Yeah, we are glad that this live stream is helping with your sanity. Yeah, Gareth has a mount. Our battery is not charged. Which I did not. Really?
Yeah, maybe let's try on the road a little bit, maybe back one. We're just gonna try. I heard some impala reporting in Wildebeest area, north and west of where we were while we were watching the lion, the male lion. Maybe we'll
take
try
Ambush Alley.
Ambush Alley, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, we share almost a 30-kilometer long boundary with the Kruger National Park, which is just the road like this, so we drive along the Kruger National Park, but we don't go into the Kruger Park. That is government land, and we are privately owned land. Well, we're owned by community, but animals don't know the difference. The animals go back and forth. So you can see lots of lion tracks on the road here. So Smudumba, this is a Land Rover Defender Puma model. One of the most amazing vehicles for the most amazing vehicle for this kind of job. Eden, it was about 12 degrees when we left camp this morning, so a couple degrees warmer now. 54 degrees Fahrenheit as Liam pointed out there. Are there still tracks on the road there? We do see more, just stop. I just showed it on the live stream. They've gone off the road. Check the fire brake again. They've gone.
No, let's do the fire brake south from here.
Perfect. So the tracks have gone off the road again now. We're just going to quickly double check which way they've gone off the road.
Yeah, they're going north from here. I think we can just get on
Campbell Road, yeah.
Campbell Road, yeah. That's much clearer.
Okay, so these tracks of these lions are continuing north just on the... So we are currently on our most western boundary. And the fire break of this road is where these lions are walking along now. We've just come back to the main road to... It's a bit easier to see the tracks from here. Fresh tracks of a leopard on the road as well. Like some zebra. So should dog, to answer your question, there are pros and cons to that. I'm not going to get into all the details, but yeah, like most things in life, there are, that does have its ups and downs.
I'll check to your left.
While I'm just holding these cell phones, other guys are actually busy working. Still checking to see if any of these tracks are still on the road.
Yeah, that's over. Let's check it at junction there. Yeah. Just gonna check it at junction on top. Because the other male did sound like definitely
I heard roaring this morning. It didn't sound that far away from camp.
It didn't sound far from camp.
Early this morning, like at 4.
Maybe we check Newton Road.
Like at 4 o'clock.
No, we check Newton Road. Because I have to say, let's check.
So those are, it's assigned to 2 of our 3 camps we have out here on the reserve. We are quite lucky in the sense that Mala Mala Game Reserve is, as I mentioned earlier, the largest and oldest private game reserve bordering the Kruger National Park, and we only have 3 camps on this big piece of land. What that allows for is a very low density of vehicles, and yeah, for obvious reasons that is very desirable. So some of you are asking for a croc and a hippo. So we aren't too far away from the river now, but we're just going to try and see if we can find more tracks of this pride of lions. If we don't have luck there, we might just quickly go see what that male lion's doing, see if he's still sleeping, and then we'll try head down to the river. Can I quickly? Just one. Let me just quickly.
On top of the vehicle.
So managed to find the tracks walking on this road again, folks. Tracks of a male.
This is 2 lions.
Just 2, huh?
Yeah, there's a big
Maybe that's why I heard roaring this morning.
Yeah, it's just 2 lions.
Yeah, so the tracks that we found on the road here are not for the whole pride, it's just for another male and female. But they've probably already looped back around because we could hear them further to our south earlier. Track to the parking bay, huh? What do you think, Squirtle? Yeah, I think track to the parking bay, see if there are any tracks there, and then back to the mail. James Bond. The main difference with leopard and lion tracks is the size. The tracks of a lion are almost double, even 3 times that of a leopard. There are leopard tracks in general are a little bit more rounder in shape, whereas lions have a bit more of an angular aspect to them. It can sometimes get confusing with lion cubs. Yeah. You folks can see that elephant behind the bush there.
I thought it's more track.
So Painted Turtle asking if we have leopard tortoises. We do. And if you actually watch our second last episode of Rangers in Isolation, a series that we're filming on YouTube, the Mala Mala Game Reserve page, there's a short little scene there with a small, quite young leopard tortoise in it. But yeah, leopard tortoise is the biggest tortoise we get here.
When you get to the home, can you stop there, just to give it right there?
So folks, you can see this little hut and these booms. This is the entrance to our Mala Mala camp.
Yeah, you can just stop here. Just want to check how many lines. Seems like more lines.
Folks, that's
Yeah, there's more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's the whole pride. 5, 6, and the cubs.
There you go, folks. You have it from Lucky. Tracks of the whole pride.
You want me to circle this?
Yeah, there you go. There's one.
Going this way. Going straight to towards the
So
camp direction.
yeah, these lions are basically walking into camp. Are the cubs with them as well? So another track of a lioness. A few of the younger lions here. Well, maybe we might be killing 2 birds with 1 stone here if these all those requests for us to drive to the river, and these lions might be walking in that direction. There's Dan Bailey and his house behind him.
Alarm calling kiddies at Pascal Crossing.
Did he? Oh yeah, Starfield. I'll just aim the camera down there.
Can you mute this?
Sorry?
Can you mute this?
I think you can. But I haven't done it before.
Okay.
It's not a definite yes or no.
I was just checking for some more tracks behind them.
You find him?
Lucky was just marking his territory quickly there, folks. Joe Z, thank you very much, that is much appreciated. And to answer your question, the hippo is probably the animal I trust the least out here. Alright, so these lions are now walking towards Sable Camp. The tracks are on the road there. Sorry folks if I missed any of your questions, just briefly out of the vehicle. On the road in front of me, a lot of elephants have been through here quite recently, maybe yesterday afternoon. Kruger National asking how much is a fully grown buffalo. How much do they weigh? If so, it'll be in excess of, anywhere up to maybe 500 to 700 kilograms. Mia Ferreira, yes, hippos do kill more people than lions. A lot of people say that hippos kill more people than any other animal on the continent. However, I would beg to differ, and I'll lead that argument with the fact that crocodiles don't leave evidence. I'm pretty sure more people get eaten by crocodiles, just there's never really any evidence left over. Hippos don't eat someone after they kill it, him or her, so there's always evidence and things afterwards. Joseph Z, we will try our best to see if we can see a hippo now. The river is quite shallow this time of year, but it is still quite cool, so one of them might still be out of the water. There hasn't been a hippo in there.
Left here, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going.
So, in fact, you can see the tracks on the road here. Might have to have a word with whichever ranger crossed the causeway this morning. Joseph, I think Annie makes a very good point there. Just going to keep delaying. But I will be honest with you, Joseph, the chances of us finding a hippo at the moment are quite small. But if you do go onto our YouTube channel, at Mile Mile Game Reserve, there are several videos there of hippos. Some involving hippos and wild dogs. There's a very long video of a hippo just playing with a stick. So Mosey Mohammed, yes, you can't see the lions now. We were with the male lion this morning. The tracks are there. Tracks just cross here, I think. I just saw the tracks come down here. Yeah, just maybe want to double check. Yeah, going south.
Yeah, they're going.
Yeah. Well, coming onto the causeway. I didn't see which way they went off.
They didn't cross south, but looks like they walk on the causeway.
Yeah, I think they might be walking on here. So we were with the male lion this morning, but we are trying to find the rest of the pride now. We're following the tracks. They're currently on this road here. So it has been a pretty cool morning. So lions, well, this pride might have walked quite far in those favorable conditions. Track still there, like it?
Yeah, they still continue eastwards this way.
So if any of you folks do have access to a map of Malamala at the moment, so we were to the west of our airstrip. Those lions then walked north and east, and then east through Sable Camp, and they've now crossed eastwards over the Sand River at our causeway, which is just south of Sable Camp. So James Bond, yeah, what we do is quite different to what Kevin Richardson does. Yeah, we are pretty much a photographic safari destination.
Yeah, south of it.
Matt, we are currently live streaming on an iPhone. Well, two iPhones. One iPhone to live stream, and I'm using this iPhone to read the comments. So not exactly high tech. Do the tracks there? Blank span. I mean, folks, so for all of you who are joining us now, although it looks like we are just driving around, we are actively tracking a pride of lions. We were with a male lion this morning, one of the males dominant over that pride. Tracks of the pride have now, we're following them going northwards. They walked through one of our camps and they've crossed the Sand River eastwards. We're still following them there. Joseph Zed, if I could magically make a hippo appear, I would. But unfortunately, I've got to be honest with you, I don't think we're going to see a hippo. You never know. Never say never, but I'd say the odds are against it now. Yeah. So just to explain it to you, so we're going to drive down this road now. We're kind of driving in a southerly direction. The last tracks we had were maybe about 500-600 meters that way, but they were coming towards us. So we're going to drive down this road and attempt to see if we can find any tracks crossing across the road. If there are no tracks crossing across this road, then there's a good chance that they might still be just here in this piece of land. Joseph Zed asking, are you more of a hippo or a crocodile?
The whole video of that.
Yeah, actually there is. Joseph, so before Dan answers that question, we did actually debate that question in one of our episodes. I can't for the life of me remember what the episode was called.
6 or 7, I think.
I think it's episode number 6 or 7 in the Rangers in Isolation series. So look out for that. Dan, hippo or crocodile?
Crocodile.
You are more scared of a crocodile?
Yeah.
And why?
Why?
Yes, why?
I just...
You just am?
I just am.
I just am.
I just am.
I think, yeah, so those crocodiles, why most people would be more scared of crocodiles, Joseph, is that they are the only animal out here that sees the human form as food, whereas lions, hippos, they see us as a threat. Crocodiles see us as fair game. If they see a human being, they see food or a potential meal.
I think you also have a better idea of a hippo approaching you, or chance of seeing a hippo, whereas a crocodile, they're designed for stealth and camouflage. You won't know they're there until it's too late.
Dan makes a very good point there. An invisible enemy.
Yeah.
So folks, guys have just seen, what's there, Lucky?
These lines have crossed here. It looks like they continue this direction, which is the eastern side of here.
Right, so you can see there's that animal game trail there. The lions have just crossed over the road and they're following this game path through here. So which means basically going to have to loop around to the next road over there.
Where are the others?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. SP Hansel. Sorry, I'm just trying to go back to where your question was. Yeah, in a vehicle, I'm definitely more scared of a hippopotamus. James Bond, we look forward to welcoming you here one day when tourism starts open again. And to everyone watching, whether you come to Mala Mala or any other game reserve or national park, these conservation depends on tourism. So we only once it's safe again, but we highly it would be great if you folks would start traveling again, help to support the tourism industry to get back on its feet after these difficult times. So Joseph, are you saying that that you are more afraid of a hippo? James Bond, if you just be more specific in terms of do's and don'ts of what exactly? Folks, so we've got some more tracks crossing the road here. These lions have walked a fair distance. They were found roughly how far from here yesterday, guys? Pen Open
Pen River.
So about 4 or 5 kilometers from here as the crow flies is how far away we found them yesterday, and they haven't walked in a straight line, so they've probably covered maybe around 8 kilometers since we last saw them. Nadav, thanks for keeping the faith in us. We hope we find them in the next few minutes. Unfortunately, what does often happen in these situations is you swallow a fly. Excuse me, folks. My mouth became a fly trap. I hope that if we do find them, that they are actually moving about and not lying down fast asleep. It's a very Madashi kind of run. We just noticed some impalas playing. So we saw some impalas that were running and looked like they were the kind of run they do when they run away from wild dogs. But it looked like they were just playing. Sorry folks, I just put down the phone that I was reading the comments off of. So I'm just gonna, tracks of these lions back on the road now, continuing east. Okay, so James Bond, to answer your question, the do's and don'ts on a safari vehicle. The biggest one is don't stand up, always stay sitting down. The animals have become accustomed to seeing us in the vehicle as one thing, but they still see the human form, that upright thing that walks on 2 legs, as their number one danger or threat, public enemy number one. So yeah, if you stay seated, you're fine. If you stand up or you get out the vehicle, then they can see that human form and they will most definitely react to that. Yeah, as far as talking goes, like the volume I'm talking at now is fine. You don't have to whisper. When you're on a vehicle, it doesn't really matter what color of clothes you wear, or clothes. Wearing neutral colors does come into the fray when we're talking about walking safaris. Dylan Morgan, what part of Mala Mala are we on? We are currently driving on a road called New Firebreak, south of Fred's Tree, driving eastwards. Dylan, are you familiar with the reserve? Got quite a few ex-rangers who watch this stream from time to time. Imran, we do have now crocodiles, and surprisingly big ones as well.
You want to reverse maybe? Yeah, you want to see if they went off the south.
Yes. Linda from California, yes, hippos can run pretty fast, and it's quite scary to think that, well, hippo included, but any animal out here, whether it's hippo or elephant, they can all run faster than the fastest human can. So yeah, there's no real point in trying to run away from anything, because you'll die tired. In fact, so Lucky is gonna have a quick look to see if looks like these tracks cross the road here. Well, someone says, please tell Lucky he is a beautiful man. Aisha Umerji, we do not have tsetse flies on Mala Mala, thank goodness. There actually used to be tsetse flies here back in the day. Oh, way back, but rinderpest, a disease, took care of that. Lucky's just having a look, see where these tracks go off the road.
North.
Yeah, I saw one track going north back there.
They're going north. There's one here that is going this way.
SP Hansel, we did drive past an elephant just now, but because I'm using an iPhone and the sun has kind of been pretty much in our faces most of the time, I did kind of put the camera on it, but I doubt you would have seen it. We do have a very healthy population of elephants in this area, so
Yeah, this track's going north. Going south. It's hard to tell.
just check the shortcuts. Maybe check the shortcut a bit south and then go north.
Oh yeah, they're going north also.
All going north, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's check their ridge road. Because some of them were playing around going south, but the majority of the tracks.
David Madeiros, thank you very much for those kind words. Jimmy Garcia, where's the wildlife? Jimmy, we are busy tracking a pride of lions. Hopefully we get to find them. There's a lot of elephant tracks and dung on the road. Looks like some lion tracks there as well. Tracks back on the road.
They're back on the road now.
Or maybe it's an Ingwe, I just saw something on the road there.
want to check here?
Yeah.
And Jimmy, just to continue from my last thing, we started the stream with a male lion who had been roaring, but he fell asleep. We came across tracks of the pride nearby, so we've been trying to follow them, but it has been a cool morning, so it looks like these lions have walked for quite a distance, and we're going to see if we can try and find them. So Joseph, hippo, croc, who wins? So I'd say most of us here have more of an innate fear of crocodiles, although we don't trust hippos. And but if they had to come to a fight, a hippopotamus would definitely beat a crocodile.
Yeah, if we don't find anything, maybe for the next 20 meters, we're gonna try the shortcut to Kruger Park. Because they might have
Really cross through here, like this.
Yeah. Because if we don't find anything there, they might we can check that could be shortcut to Kruger Park. Looks like something might have got their attention there.
Stalking.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell the way it's
So James Bond, generally now crocodiles, the females will get much bigger than the males. So I think the biggest female crocodile I've seen on Mala Mala would probably be close to about how many feet do you reckon the one at Moati Dam is? Yeah, I'd say about maybe 11, 12 foot crocodile. So the Sand River is not the deepest river in the world, in comparison with ones like the Zambezi, and you'll find much larger crocodiles.
Yeah, just try to bring you park. Shortcut.
Oh, go back there.
Yeah, the shortcut. Yeah, shortcut to bring you park. Not seeing anything yet.
Yeah, SP Hansel, so that rinderpest outbreak that eradicated the tsetse flies in this area was a couple hundred years ago. Yeah, I think the late 1800s. Liam.
1898.
There you go, 1898.
Somewhere around
They were bought, or rinderpest was brought into Africa through cattle from India, I believe, to the northern parts of Africa. It's spread rapidly across the continent, almost annihilated the Cape buffalo population. Elephant versus hippo. Joseph Z, who wins? Oh, I'm afraid elephant is the real king of the jungle. Elephant wins. Elephant versus anything, elephant wins. Clive Harding, welcome to the live stream. Yes, we are filming in the northeastern parts of South Africa. We're bordering the Kruger National Park on a private reserve called Mala Mala Game Reserve. Yes, Matt, so Joseph Z has been very generous. Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, a lot of...
Sorry. So, man, the shortcut.
You want me to take the shortcuts?
Yeah. So folks, we've turned around because there were no tracks crossing the road back there. The last tracks coming towards us on this road, it looks like they may have turned slightly more south. drag mark on the road? Ah.
There's nothing there, so we know there's lying somewhere because there's been some zebras tracks running around.
Yeah, James Bond. So there in the Mara River, they get really big crocodiles, but they also. That squirrel. Daniel just heard a squirrel alarm calling in the bushes there. So it is possible that these lions might have just moved off the road and gone to sleep in the bush. We're just going to check this road quickly and then we might go back to where we last had the tracks. Yeah, Nadav made a very good point there. T-Tex has already lost. Well, Joseph, I'll back an elephant any day of the week.
Do what's an elephant?
Back an elephant against a T-Rex. That's where the conversation is now.
Oh, really?
It's a very informative game drive here, folks. Nothing here. I'm sure they won't have come this far.
Because I mean they've been walking and sleeping all the time. So where we last saw the text, something might have caught their attention. But I wouldn't be surprised because remember we had some baboon alarm calling in the river while we were watching the other line. So I wouldn't mind just carry on with this road. I don't know what time we back there.
Right, folks, so I think these lions are probably in this piece of land not too far from where we are now. And there's some elephants in the distance over there. We're going to just continue driving this road in case they have. Let me explain this a bit better. So where we last had the tracks crossing the road, it looks like they had actually noticed something. They might have been hunting there. The tracks then did not cross the roads in the direction where we would have anticipated them to have, given the direction that they'd been moving most of the morning. So they might have turned back and started heading more south and west towards the river, which is what we're going to check for now. If we don't find anything here, then they are definitely still in this block of land to our north. If that is the case, then we will probably come back this afternoon because my iPhone battery is on about 2%, so I'm afraid it's going to die soon.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it looks to be working pretty well. Where are you? Okay.
What do they have there?
Island.
Aren't you? Does she have a bummer in it?
It's lying on the road.
Folks, also stay tuned. If we don't find these lions now, Mike is in the other vehicle He's just found the island female leopard, and he's just trying to figure out if it's an area where he can live stream. So if this transmission ends, just keep a lookout for a new live stream starting with a female leopard called the island female. Could be coming to you soon. Battery versus elephant. I'm afraid elephant is going to win that one, Nadav. I said my batteries are low. Dylan Morgan, we were looking for, we presume to be the Kumbula Pride. There's some warthog and impala in the back of the screen there. Liam, just ask Mike if he is going to live stream. Alright folks, so unfortunately my battery is about to die. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna end this live stream, and I'm gonna go back to camp. We're only a stone's throw away from camp. Get the phone charged up again, and then try head out after breakfast, see if we can find these lions again. I think Mike is with the island female, but she's just moved into some thick bush, so he might not be able to live stream there. But if that changes, and if we do find these lions after breakfast, we will start the live stream again. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Thank you for your support. I'll just do a quick few questions before we stop. Brian, yes, I'm pretty sure we're going to find them as soon as the battery does die. Joseph Z, hippos for life. Aisha, the island female, she had a cub, but we are not sure if it's still alive. Alright folks, thank you very much for watching. From Liam in the driver's seat, Dan, and Lucky, myself, Peter. Hopefully we'll find these lions and we'll come live to you again after breakfast. Watch this space. Watch this space. Alright folks, just gonna wait a bit just for more people to join the stream before we just explain where we are and what we are doing. So for now, just look at the lion track. Skoro. 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 Ska jag med quickly? Alright, so folks, welcome to this live stream. For those of you who were watching us earlier this morning, you'd know what we're doing here. For those of you who have just joined us, or who missed the morning live stream, we have been tracking a pride of lions. We stopped our tracking to go have breakfast, but we've come out into the bush again. And so Lucky is going to explain what we have here.
Alright, we do have a pride of these lions that we've been tracking all morning. They're heading this way, which is east of our property.
About how far that way did we first have the tracks?
We had them, I would say, about 4 kilometers from here by the airstrip, but because it's just a winding road, so it could be plus or minus 4 kilometers up to here. But now it's too warm, so there's a big chance that they might sleep somewhere. We're just going to carry on and follow these tracks, which we lost earlier, and now we're on top of them again.
Right, so where do the tracks go from here?
They're heading more east this way, and then this is
Yes.
our east.
That's east?
Yeah, they're heading this way on the road, so we're just going to see if maybe they continue, or maybe they might find a shade somewhere, those lions, and let's hope we find them.
Right. Ranger Dan.
Everyone in?
And for those all of you who are joining us now, we are on Mala Mala Game Reserve in the northeastern parts of South Africa. And you can see the bush around us is quite thick. So these lion tracks do go off the road. We're not going to walk on the tracks because the bush is way too thick here to be walking into about 30 lions. I think they do go off the road in front here. Is there anything on the road in front there?
There's nothing on the road anymore. Just
I think that's going more direction.
we're going up to the left. Right?
Yeah, there's more tracks that are going to the left, and there's two that went to the right. But maybe let's stick with the one that go to the left because there's 3 of them. There's a set of 3, and this one is a set of 1 or 2. So we can try and let the one in the
So it looks like the lions might have gone off the road here on either side, but at least 3 sets of tracks go off to the left. 1 set of tracks has gone off to the right. Majority rules. Let's see if there's... And as Lucky mentioned earlier, it is getting quite warm now, so when we do eventually find these animals, there's a very good chance that it's going to be a sleepy sighting, but you never know.
Hold on, everyone.
But I think the most important thing is that we do find them, and then hopefully, if our mobile network coverage allows, we will try and live stream again with them this afternoon. There might be a higher chance of them being active. Adrian Krugerman, welcome to the live stream. We are kind of in autumn, although technically it's still summer, but we are approaching winter. And it was a very cold morning, well, 10 degrees Celsius, I think it's about 50 something degrees Fahrenheit, so cold by our standards. But we are going into our winter/dry season at the moment.
Yeah, on the left.
Yeah. There you go. Liam has spotted at least one lion walking in the grass there. Two lions, there's at least one cub.
They're all lying down here in the shade.
Oh. That didn't take too long. And so the funny thing is, when we left the tracks this morning, we were less than 100 meters away from them before breakfast got the better of us.
Looks like the youngster.
Yeah. I think we'll just watch these two for a bit, then we can go closer. So folks, we're just gonna get a rough idea of where some of these lions are, and then we will put ourselves in a better position. It looks like two of the older cubs in front of us, maybe.
One's walked off.
Yeah, there's some walked off in the distance in front of us. I think we'll try and find our way around to the other side so we get a slightly better view of these lions. One good thing is most of them still have their heads up. So to Varun Vez, or Vazes, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but we do, so Mala Mala Game Reserve is a private game reserve. We do border the Kruger National Park, which is a government-owned land. Because Kruger National Park is open to the public, and they get hundreds of thousands of visitors every year, and people can drive themselves in. They have quite strict policies with regards to how you can drive around there. So in Kruger National Park, you're not allowed to leave the roads. We are a privately owned reserve. We have a very low density of vehicles on quite a large area, with a very low impact. So we are allowed to off-road. One of the advantages of a private game reserve like Mala Mala. So focus at least a lioness in the front of screen, a cub in the shade behind her, and then lying in the shade here there's a lioness just lifted up her head. Where's the male?
This is young male, so.
No, young male. It did look like a...
463.
Stand by. hour south of Fred Street, just west of the junction with Kirkman and Firebreak. It's not too 100 long, more than 20 metres north of the road on the bush line. Stage being flat out.
So Destroyer 8 asking if the Gary male sensed the presence of the lions of the Four Ways Pride. If the males from the Four Ways Pride roared, then they definitely would have heard them. But I cannot confirm that. And Nadav asking or wondering why the others went to the other side of the road. There were quite a few zebra and kudu in this area earlier. Tracks for them as well, so there's a good chance they were hunting around here. It might explain why they did split up back there, but I'm assuming they're all here now. It's difficult to tell on this long grass. So Blair asking if the Kumbula Pride are splitting up more than before lately. No, they're not. I think less than before. One of the main reasons they were splitting up quite often is that the cubs were still quite young. But now as the cubs are growing up, they're spending more and more time together as a unit. With only, the one lioness frequently away from the pride as she tries to mate with one of the males. Folks, I think we'll maybe give it about 5 minutes with these lions, see if there is any movement at all. Otherwise, the most important thing is that we have found them, and that bodes well for a potential live stream this afternoon. If our power doesn't go off, and if they do get active when it gets cooler, it could be nice. I think we'll maybe give it another 5 minutes or so. If they don't move, we might take a drive down to the river, see if we can find something else, maybe some elephants coming down to drink. Or a hippo. I don't think Joseph has joined us yet on this live stream, Dan.
This female might get up and move over.
Yeah, Blair, so we do believe that 6 lioness she's been mating for years now and hasn't conceived, so it's pretty safe to assume that she cannot have cubs. I can't confirm whether or not it was her with the Ottawa male this morning, but it's not, it does sound plausible. Here comes one of the older cubs. Stitch Cats, good morning, welcome back. noise?
It sounds like something's running.
Yeah, it sounds like a As you can see, all those lionesses have lifted up their heads and are looking in the kind of direction, well, not looking at us, but looking past us. There was a noise behind us, almost sounded like the sound of many hooves running against the ground. By tapping. So yeah, Brian, it's not windy at the moment. There's a gentle breeze, and the temperature, I don't know, it's getting warmer now. I'd say it's probably closer to 20 degrees and climbing. Inga Barnes, thank you very much. It didn't take us that long actually. And in hindsight, if we kept on looking for another 5 minutes instead of giving in to the demands of our stomachs and going back to camp for breakfast, well, I suppose, and our cell phone batteries, we would have found them earlier this morning. Dan, JD Valman is asking if that's an anthill. So folks, someone, a so-called ranger is asking if that structure back there is an anthill. He is correct to some extent. It's not an anthill, but it's more accurately known as a termite mound in the center of screen. I hope that answers your question, JD Valman. So folks, let's get an idea from people watching. We can stay with these lions a little bit longer. I don't think they're going to move much. They might just move as the shade shifts. Or we can take a quick drive down to the river, see if we can find anything there. So, yeah, pretty much what you prefer to do. Option A, stay with the lions a bit longer. Option B, go see if we can find something down by the river. Ferry, this is not the Nkuma Pride, this is the Kambula Pride. JD Valman. So Varun, Brian, Inga all voting river. So we will just wait for this lioness who's busy grooming herself to get up and move into the shade, and then we'll quick drive down to the river, see if there's anything there. I'm hoping for elephants. Dan, if we go to the river, what do we have a good chance of seeing?
Water? But it is getting quite warm.
Folks, that's why we pay Dan Bailey the big bucks.
No, so the lions are resting because the temperature is rising quite steadily. But with the warmer temps, it's quite likely something will come down to drink. So hopefully elephants will go for a drink or even a bit of a bath to cool down. Possibly even some of the general game antelope such as the kudu, impala, and maybe if we're lucky even some giraffe.
Or a hippo for Joseph.
And we've got to find the hippo for Joseph.
Liam, Blair's asking if we've heard anything about the Eifield lioness and her cub lately, or if there's any update there.
Not for a while. We haven't heard much about them. Her and her cub are territorial in the very southern parts of Mala Game Reserve, so it's not often we get to venture down there, especially during this time. But we are planning on maybe doing a southern venture over the next couple of days to see if we can find any sign of them. It would just be a nice substitute if we don't find them.
Alright. Folks, I think we are going to start making our way down towards the river. It's getting a bit warm here in the sun. There's not that much shade for us either. I think these...
75 degrees.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It's about 75 degrees in the shade. Fahrenheit. Alright, folks, so with any luck we'll try to bring you this live stream these lions again this afternoon when those aforementioned mercury levels start to drop. Varun Vazir, sorry, I saw your message too late, couldn't zoom in there. Ferry, no updates on the Nkrumah Pride this morning. We haven't seen them this morning.
Okay.
And Nadav asking if that male lion that we live streamed earlier this morning did anything. We're not sure, Nadav. We haven't. No one has been to him since we last viewed him.
Inside, was one going on the Sapper Crossing.
Sapper Crossing and up to Boston.
Massive road running through. I see it. So Michael Milligan, we are in Africa, in South Africa, and in the northeastern parts of South Africa to be exact. Ron, hello from California. Hello back, Ron. Brian, the river is
not too far as the crow flies, but we're going to take a bit of a windy road to get there. We'll probably be there in just over 5 minutes. So for people asking where we are currently on Mala Mala Game Reserve in the northeastern parts of South Africa. We were with a male lion this morning, and then we spent most of the morning after that trying to track down a pride of lions. We eventually found them, but they are fast asleep, so we are going to take a quick drive down to the river. Hopefully we get lucky, find, well, we're hoping for elephants. I mean, yeah, get lucky. So Sivas Salim VS, we see almost 10 different prides on Mala Mala. Some of them have almost their entire territories on Mala Mala. Some of those prides only have a small portion of their territories on Mala Mala, but yeah, we are a completely open and unfenced system. To our east lies the Kruger National Park. To our north and to our west lies the Sabi Sand Vultane. Steel's hot. Yes, I think everyone who works here will remember the Mapocho, and I think they will be remembered for a long time. Destroyer 8, do we think the 4 is probably just planning to stay here? We hope so, and the further it gets into winter, the more we might see them, as they too might need to seek out the Sand River for water. But yeah, I've given up trying to predict what lions are going to do, so we'll let time tell us. Dread, just to answer your question, KG1 already has to some extent. We are not part of Safari Live. We are the rangers of Mala Mala Game Reserve, and we've teamed up with Kruger Latest Sightings to bring you these live streams. A lot of people wanted to be in Africa now, want to be in the bush, want to be on safari, but because of the pandemic, you can't, so we are trying to bring the bush to you through these live streams. Folks, so Liam had suggested we come here to this point in the river called Sandpit Crossing. Dan had recommended bicycle crossing, but Dan's wrong. Although there's a pretty good chance that there are elephants there as well. This time of year we have quite a few elephants around. But as you can see coming up on the screen now, there's a herd of elephants drinking from the river. Thank goodness this road hasn't been used in a while.
November was the last time I crossed it.
This is becoming a drainage line. Alright folks, so we have now entered the Sand River.
Crocodile?
There's a crocodile on the bank. You can just see on screen there. But let's go to these elephants first.
Try for these two first. Now,
I think gooi in here, yeah. Yeah, book right, yeah. Straight there, yeah. I think they will.
There's a hippo as well.
Where?
On that side. Oh, yeah. Where those other two are.
Sorry folks, we'll get to the questions now. But as we drove in, just basically behind Liam's head there's an elephant. A crocodile. There are the elephants. And then I'm just going to zoom in back there. And if you folks can see, but there's a hippo in the center of screen now. So where's old Joseph when you need him?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So SP Fansel asking if we have any issues regarding poaching on Mala Mala. Unfortunately, I think that's a reality for every game reserve on the continent now, especially in regards of rhino poaching. There you go, Inga. You see the Sand River, probably one of the most diverse and productive rivers on the continent. I mean, there's so much around us just in this little area. So as Dred said, let's go fishing. That's the first thing I'll get to. So the Sand River, it's not a big river at all. It's got about 36 different species of fish. So I definitely say it punches above its weight. And bird life is abundant here as well. So there's a blacksmith lapwing just on the edge of the water there. And you can see Liam taking a photo of something. You're taking a photo of there, Liam?
So there's a malachite kingfisher.
Yeah.
Little malachite kingfisher.
Could you zoom in on the photo and see if we can... I'm not sure if this is going to work, folks, but there we go.
Or malachite kingfisher.
Little malachite kingfisher.
A rare species to see out here.
Yeah, is it separate though? Looks like it.
Just making sure it's not a half-collared kingfisher.
I've never seen a coloured one.
The river is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's all like covered from the drought.
What we are hoping happens here, folks, is when these elephants do finish drinking, that they walk across the river towards us. We'll see if that happens, or if they turn around and go back west. So Lawrence Jr., I think, answering a question that was asked earlier, if we've ever seen a croc make a kill. Here on Mala Mala, I've seen crocodiles kill birds, hammerkop in particular, but I've never actually seen them kill. I've seen them go after an impala and miss before. DLLMO, we were with lions earlier, but they fell asleep, so we have come to the river and are now looking at elephants. So Mia's asking how many elephants are on this herd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. About 20?
Yeah.
Let's try count them like this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and there's 3 behind there. Yeah, almost 20. Mia? And there quite a few of them are calves. Can't see because some of the reeds are in the way, but at least maybe 5 calves here. There, come this way. So Brian Elmer asking if the Sand River is clean and healthy. I think like most places in the world today, could be healthier, but it's yeah, it is relatively clean and healthy. There are several organizations that try to look after the rivers that flow into the Kruger National Park. There's a foundation called Save the Sand, which does some good work in that regard. So Mrs. Sinclair, in general, this is a relatively, I'd say, an average size herd, or slightly above average. Lucas, the crocodile is behind Liam's head there. Liam's pointing now. If we leave here, we'll try show him to you. So Varun asking if a herd of elephants is blocking the road they're walking on it. Would you suggest one should do to get past them? Well, Varun, elephants have right of way. So if they are walking towards you, then I would move off the road and let them walk past. Especially, well, it depends also on the area where you are. These animals are very tolerant of our vehicles, so they will quite comfortably walk past you. In other areas where they are not so tolerant of vehicles, where they might act aggressively, then your best bet would be to remove yourself from that situation, probably by reversing to a safe distance and then turning around and driving off. And Lawrence Jr., yes, elephant calves do breastfeed. The elephants, unlike most other mammals, have their mammary glands in the front like humans do. And elephant calves do suckle. Folks, when we left the lions, we were debating where to come to look for elephants in the Sand River. Liam said Sampit Crossing, and Liam was correct. Dan said Bicycle Crossing, so should we go check out Bicycle Crossing, Dan?
Okay.
After we look at the crocodile and the hippo.
We're going to the hippo first.
No, whichever is easiest. Big 5 driver. Yeah. I'm sure you could actually. So there you go, folks. A hippopotamus. Probably a relatively young male. might find there's a slightly deeper patch of water behind these reeds, but he did move because of the elephants. Folks, notice how that one young elephant has taken note of that hippo. So he might get a bit cheeky. There you go, folks, that was pretty cool. So Brian asking if the Sand River is flowing. Brian, I'm going to get lucky to answer your question just now. Yes, Mia, where's Joseph when you need him? He would have loved that hippo sighting. And Lawrence, we are very close to Mala Mala camp, as well as Sable camp. They are a couple hundred meters from where we are now. We'll actually probably, once we leave this crocodile, you'll see them when we drive away from here. Zoom in a bit, but there is the crocodile we were talking about earlier, and you can see the hippo getting out the river just behind him in the top of screen. So there's a big pool of water just on the other side of where that hippo is now, and that's I'm sure where he's going now. I reckon this crocodile probably looks to be maybe 8 to 10 foot long. So not the biggest crocodile we have here. If you followed some of our Rangers in Isolation episodes on the Mala Mala Game Reserve YouTube channel, there's a much bigger crocodile in Mawati Dam. But this guy will still give you a bite. Give you a little nibble, Dan.
Could give you a bit of a nibble.
Where's my power bank? Oops, sorry. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's charging mine. I think I missed there. So sorry, if I was going to catch up with some of the questions. Had the one phone down while we were driving around. So Varun, to answer your question again about the driving past elephants, often when that happens, it's just as you said there, it's a youngster. And more often than not, that's all bark and no bite. They're just being cheeky. So as long as the big females are okay with your presence, then there's a good chance you're pretty safe. button when in doubt. The best thing to do is just to stand still if you can't safely remove yourself from the situation. Lawrence. So Gareth and Mike are not with us at the moment, but I'll introduce the people who are with us now. So there's Liam.
Hello everyone.
Dan.
Good day.
Good morning. Good day.
And myself, Peter. So folks, we've just watched these elephants drink and go. Well, they've walked back to the other bank now. There's this crocodile in the river and the hippo that walked past. We are going to continue driving up the river, see if we can find something else on our way back to camp. As you can see, the sun is getting quite high in the sky. It's getting slightly warm.
Water pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really cricket.
With him.
It's so good. Oh wait, the line's too loud.
Yeah, so there is no way of telling if that is a male or female crocodile from just looking at it. Unless if it was a particularly large crocodile, then it's most likely a female. However, that one was a medium-sized one. And yeah, the only way you can tell is actually with a closer examination of certain parts. Who is the best photographer amongst the rangers there? I'm going Dan B. Probably someone who got low standards there.
Don't be jealous, Pete. Makes you nasty.
Dan,
Hello?
that's Brian Alma saying he thinks you are the best photographer of all here. You agree with him?
Thank you, Brian.
As much as it pains me to admit it, if we're going by competitions, Dan has won the most competitions recently. So on that note, you can look at some of Dan's work on Dan's Instagram page at Daniel Charles Bailey. Liam Henderson also has got some good shots. Still LJ Hendodo at LJ Hendodo underscore 1
At LJ underscore Hendodo.
at LJ underscore Hendodo. Or what might be easier, if you go to the Mala Mala Game Reserve Instagram page, you'll see a lot of photographs there. We use a lot of the rangers' photographs for that page, and we do tag them in the photos, so it might be an easier way to find them. And while you're on that, you might as well go to our Facebook page and our YouTube page, because we are filming a series called Rangers in Isolation that we post on YouTube as daily episodes. Had a lot of lion activity recently on the reserve, so if you are fans of the Nkuhuma Pride, the Kumbula Pride, and the Tortured Pride, recommend having a look there. Also have one sighting, I think one episode with the Marthley Pride. left hand side is Mala Mala Sable Camp, and on the right hand side is Mala Mala Camp. So it gives you an idea. We went, well, both with a combined ride, the Gyro earlier this morning, and then those elephants, crocodile, and hippo, all within less than a kilometer of camp. Squirrel. Let's go along for it.
Trying to make up. Too nice of a person, just water.
Yeah, so if people ask how many people can sleep at our camps, so 50 people, and we accept, well, Mala Mala camp accept kids of children of any age, and then Rat Race camp, which is about 5 kilometers from here, takes 16 guests. Oh, there's some giraffe over there, way upstream. Mia Ferreira, the speed limits are 30 kilometers an hour on the reserve. When you're on an open vehicle like this and with the wind, it'll always not drive your own. Well, you can drive your own vehicle from the entrance gate to the camp, but that's about it. Once you're on the folks, so sorry, we went through a bit of patchy signal and actually had to turn around and come back because it's only going to get worse in that direction. We see some of these questions here. So Blair, I have guided in the Congo, in the Republic of the Congo, the Untitled National Park with gorillas, which was an amazing experience. I highly recommend that part of the world to anyone who has a sense of adventure and is willing to rough it. And they cook it. Mia, the mail line from this morning, no one's been to him since we left him this morning. I think there's a good chance he probably wouldn't have moved too far, if anything just moved into some shade. But he will probably be trying to find the rest of the pride later this afternoon or this evening. Nothing is for certain, nothing is guaranteed, but we will try to live stream with those lions again this afternoon. Again, no promises, but we will try our best to do so. But yeah, from us, I hope you enjoyed what we brought you this morning. Nice, very nice elephant sighting down by the river, and also sleeping lions, but lions nonetheless. Hopefully that all that effort put into tracking them this morning could lead to a nice live stream this afternoon. Folks, from Liam, Dan, Lucky, and me. We'll see you maybe this afternoon.